Hello there, good morning, happy holidays. Today I'm gonna leave you with one last original coffee drink recipe before I go on a brief holiday break myself. I'll be back shortly, but in the meantime, I'm gonna leave you with something that one of my followers on Threads lovingly dubbed the Pomander. Once we get into our ingredients, you'll understand why. Now, while this drink may look like a cocktail, there is gonna be no spirits involved, and so it is about 10:30 in the morning, and I'm very excited to make this. So, without further ado, let's begin. This is perhaps the most delicious tray time that I have brought out all year. We have many things happening on this tray. However, overall, I think this drink is actually pretty simple. We are going to be making one unique syrup, but it is a syrup that will go in so many things. You just have to trust me here. Just make this syrup, put it in your coffee, put it in your cocktails, put it in your tea, put it in anything. Just drink it. It's delicious. Regardless, let's make our syrup and then we'll get into everything else here today. So, starting off with our Pomander recipe, we are going to be making a brown sugar clove infused syrup. This is going to be rich, molassesy, spiced, very tasty, and you can leave this in your fridge for up to 2 weeks. We're going to be making a somewhat small batch here today. However, if you want to scale this up or down, simply do the division or the multiplication needed, and you can have as much of this as you want. Into a saucepan on medium heat. First things first, we have 200 grams of dark brown sugar. I love a recipe that just involves chucking everything into a pot. That is a little bit what we're doing here today. This is a 2-to-1 rich syrup, so we are using 100 mils of water. And our last little ingredient, pretty easy here and pretty obvious, we're going to be using about 5 grams of whole cloves. Just drop that in there. Now we are simply going to gently stir this every so often while this mixture heats and also while that sugar dissolves. You'll want to keep this either at or right below a simmer. We don't want this getting too aggressive in its boiling or its heating. Usually for everything to dissolve in here on like a medium to high heat, this will take about 4 to 5 minutes. Once that 4 to 5 minutes is done and everything has dissolved, we're going to remove it from the heat and allow this syrup to cool with the cloves still inside to allow that flavor to continue to infuse. Once the syrup is cool, we'll strain out the cloves and then we'll store our syrup. So, if you'll pardon me, I'll see you at the other end of the syrup. I want to give a huge thank you to Bombas for sponsoring today's video. I'll be honest with you, even as a kid, I was pretty excited to get socks for the holidays, and now as an adult, that excitement has only grown tenfold. Bombas is a comfort-focused premium basics brand with the mission to help those in need. With items such as socks, underwear, slippers, and more, Bombas uses premium materials such as merino wool and extra long staple cotton to ensure that you're cozy and comfortable at all times. Both their heavy and medium weight socks have become my all-time favorites to wear and are perfect gifts for any sock lovers in your life, even if that means you buy them for yourself as a treat. Additionally, Bombas donates to shelters helping people experiencing homelessness. For every pair you buy, they donate a pair and have currently donated over 140 million items of clothing. So, if you're looking to wrap up your holiday shopping or just to get cozy yourself, Bombas is ready to help you with 20% off your first purchase for new customers when you visit bombas.com/MDC and use code MDC20. That's code MDC20 and the top link in the description for 20% off your first order. Okay, we are just below a simmer right now. All of my sugar has dissolved and the room smells delicious. So, again, take this off heat. We will allow it to cool and then we'll strain out the cloves and store in a little jar. Okay, we now have a lovely brown sugar clove syrup. So let's move on to the rest of our drink, which is pretty easy in assembly. So, of course, our syrup. Our next most important ingredient is going to be orange juice. You can squeeze this fresh or you can use just pre-bought orange juice. It actually still tastes very, very delicious. The only thing I will note is that with your orange juice, if you are squeezing it fresh, please strain it. If you are buying it from the store, please do not buy pulped orange juice. You want a no pulp scenario here. We will be needing some heavy cream. We will be using nutmeg. I prefer to grate nutmeg fresh. However, if you would like to use pre-grated nutmeg, you may do that as well. We will need a few drops of saline solution. This is just salt water. All I did was use 1 part salt to 10 parts water, allowed that to melt together, and hence some saline solution. I really like adding saline to coffee drinks for the exact same reasons that people add saline to cocktails. It, to quote the thirsty whale, it makes things pop. It also creates more of just kind of like a harmonious balance. It acts as kind of like a glue for everything. You can make this without saline solution. It will still be tasty. However, it's ultra tasty with a little bit of salt added. We will also need a double espresso. You'll notice I do not have one right now, so let me go pull some espresso and I'll be right back. Oh, the billion-dollar question of where did my tamp go? This is not actually the tamp I wanted, but I have no idea where my force tamp went. That's kind of funny. Okay, now we have a nice steaming shot of espresso ready for us. I pulled this out to be about 40 mils. This is a double shot of espresso. However, we are going to be ultimately making this drink as a shaken drink with ice. And if we add this to our ice, we are going to have a lot of dilution. So prior to using the shot of espresso, we are going to chill it. You can do this in many ways. You can simply allow this to chill at room temperature for a bit of time. You can put this in your fridge or your freezer, or if you have something or anything like a hyper chiller, you can just drop it in there. These are little like $15 to $20 double-walled ice chambers that very rapidly chill liquid. We've got about 10 of them laying around. They're affordable and I use them for a lot of things, so heads up if you're wondering what that is. While this chills, let's talk about the coffee I'm using in here, and let's also talk about the overall flavor profile of this drink, because I don't think we've touched on that yet. So first of all, the type of coffee that I'm using. For this drink specifically, I would recommend using kind of a medium to light roast coffee that is chocolate forward in flavor. So looking at more traditional like espresso blends, looking at like washed coffees, looking at maybe even some Brazilian coffees, something in that flavor profile is going to work well in this drink. Going for something that is super funky, super fruity, super fermented is going to be a little bit disjointed, I think, from the overall final drink profile. So just a heads up on what type of coffee to use. Now, let's talk about this drink and why it's called the Pomander. If you aren't familiar with them, pomanders, and there will be a photo somewhere on screen here, are little oranges that are studded with cloves. You usually see these around the holidays. They are often used as like just room fresheners. You'll see them used in simmer pots. They are very aromatic, and that's kind of what this drink overall reminds me of. It is very like creamy, it is spiced, it's got a little bit of orange, and overall, even though we aren't adding any chocolate to this drink, I find this drink to be very chocolate forward in its flavor. So the Pomander felt appropriate. All right, let's assemble. Starting off, we are going to use 1 ounce of orange juice, half an ounce of our brown sugar clove syrup, if you find that you prefer drinks that are less espresso forward, if you want something that is a bit sweeter and creamier overall, use a full ounce of heavy cream. If you want something that is more espresso forward, a little bit more tart in flavor, I would go with half an ounce. Both are good, they just yield pretty different profiles. We're gonna use about 4 drops of our 10% saline solution, and then our chilled double espresso. Allow me to gather some ice, and then we will shake vigorously. Now, we're gonna shake this vigorously until chilled for about 30 seconds, and then I'm gonna be double straining it into this little Nick and Nora glass here. Double straining just so we don't get any ice chunks, and additionally, if you used pulp, to make sure there is no orange pulp in your final drink. Moment of truth. Oh, and that's even a pretty nice water line right there. Now for our final stage of garnishing, as well as a little bit of aromatics on the nose, I'm gonna grate some of that fresh nutmeg over top of this. I'm a nutmeg fan. I'm gonna go ham on this, but do as you will. And then if you want a little bit of color, along with a very impractical garnish, a nice little dehydrated orange will prior to service. This is annoying to drink with though, so perhaps we will not consume it with such. Cheers, y'all. Let's enjoy the pomander. This is like everything I want out of a small coffee drink. It is chilled, it is frothy. The longer it sets up, you'll start to see a pretty distinct little foamy head form from the whipped up heavy cream. There's a nice like spice to it. It's a deep sweetness from that brown sugar syrup, and also a nice bright acidity that's not too overpowering, just because oranges carry a lot more juice and flavor than they do harsh acidity. It's just lovely. I whipped this up, I want to say about a month ago, and for a little bit it was a newsletter exclusive, but this needs to be shared with more people, and more people need to make it because it is truly such a delicious holiday drink. And I think a pretty nice way to go out at the end of the year. This was 2024. It was an incredibly fun year. If I can reminisce for one quick moment, this year has been such a blast, full of new drinks and like content types and the website and the newsletter and all sorts of fun stuff that I'm very, very excited to carry into 2025. There are some projects I'm working on for 2025 that I haven't really shared anything about yet, but are hopefully going to become more clear soon. And I just can't wait. This has been a great year and I'm excited for the next one. So until next year, I've been Morgan. You can find me here on YouTube once a week plus shorts, or you can find me on TikTok or Instagram almost every single day. If you want more recipes like this, you can go to morgandrinkscoffee.com. You can sign up for my newsletter. All of those will be linked in the description. Until next year, I hope you've had a great year. I hope you have a great holiday season, and I'll see y'all very, very soon. Cheers, everyone.